Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Ark Xtreme Off-Road Trailer Jack. It's going to be a 500 series jack. It's going to have an 1,100 pound weight capacity. The reason it is determined to be an off-road jack is the construction of it, the adjustability, and the wheel size. It's going to be a durable steel construction with a zinc coating to prevent rust and corrosion. It's also going to have a 600-hour salt spray rating, which makes it good for anybody that lives on the coast. By any oceans that have salt water or salt in the air. If you've ever had any metal objects that don't have any coating on them, that salt air causes it to corrode very quickly, so we don't have to worry about that with this jack. We're going to have several different adjustment positions. We got the side pin here, which allows us to move it up and down on this outside tube. We have our crank, and then we have our pin here that allows us to fold it up and store it in the upright position. Our adjustable pin here is going to be a dual pin design, spring-loaded pin, so once we pull the pin and we slide it, it's going to automatically lock into the holes as it meets the holes. We're going to have a few different positions here. You can see the holes from center of pivot point, which is centered on our frame rail, at our lowest point to where this would be at the top here, at our highest point, is a total of 7 5/8 inches. So you got 7 5/8 inches of adjustability just with the pin setting. Another nice thing about it is if we have our jack up like this, we can pull this pin and it'll drop this down, get our wheels close to the ground, and a lot less cranking we'll have to do. Our handle here, this is a folding handle, nice grip on it, so it makes it easy when you're trying to hold on to it, maybe it's raining or something like that. And what that handle does, as I mentioned before, that allows us to fold our jack into the upright storage position. You can see, dual pin, spring loaded. All we're going to do is pull out. We're going to rotate our jack up and in the storage position. Now, we can actually rotate this either way. We have a little less room up here at the front, that's why I rotate it to the back, but you are able to rotate it to the front. If you're concerned about the length of it when it's folded up, maybe you have a boat that the front of it sits a little bit lower, or maybe you're putting it on an enclosed trailer or something like that, where your tongue is not quite as long. From the very end here to the very end of the wheels, it's going to be a total of 29 inches long. So just keep that in mind when you're measuring to see if you are able to fit it. This jack is going to have a dual wheel design. Each wheel is going to be 10 inches by 2 3/4. It's going to have an off-road rubber. You can see it has nice tread on it. And what makes it nice having rubber is if you're trying to roll it around, maybe in the gravel, maybe in some dirt, something like that, it's going to make it a lot easier. Where if you had a plastic wheel, it makes it a little bit hard. Let's say we're rolling it across the parking lot or something, or in a driveway, and we hit a rock. With a plastic wheel, it's just going to stop. With this, it's actually going to roll over that rock. We're not going to have to worry about it. You'll notice right here on this top plate, there's going to be a hole. There's a pin on the bottom of the outside tube. That way, when you retract the jack all the way, this pin's going to slide in that hole, and it keeps the wheel from spinning around when you have it up in the stored position. Now, you may be wondering what all this is here. You'll see a sprocket. It's got teeth on it. These little mechanisms here, these little knobs here, this allows you to crank this wheel in any direction. What they do is they have a forward and reverse and a neutral. The neutral position is going to allow the wheel to spin freely. The forward and reverse allows you to use the handle, crank it to move the nose wherever you want, or move the tongue of the trailer in any direction you want without the wheel spinning the opposite direction. Take your handle, you're going to slide it in, it's going to lock into place. You simply turn the knobs whichever direction you're wanting to go. If you want reverse, you're going to put R forward here and R on the back side here. It's going to lock into place. What's nice about having the handle and being able to move it in any direction we need to, we get into a garage or something where our vehicle can't quite get it over close enough to the wall. We can use the jack or the handle to move 1 inch at a time and get our trailer right up against our wall without damaging our boat or the wall. Another nice thing about having it is if you are backing up your vehicle to hook up to the trailer, and I've had it happen to myself several times, and you don't have a camera, you're trying to line the ball up with a coupler, rather than getting out 15 times, you can use this. As long as you get it lined up close, you can use this to get your trailer over top the ball. So it makes it a little bit easier when hooking up, again, and moving your trailer inside of an enclosed garage somewhere and you're wanting to get it off to the side. The handle is going to be a solid piece of steel. You'll notice the grip is going to be dimpled. It's a nice durable plastic. We're not going to have to worry about it, the weather tearing it up. But the dimples give you kind of a grip. So if your hands are wet or anything like that, we don't have to worry about our hands sliding off. Our crank handle, you're going to notice it's going to have a nice grip. It's going to have finger grooves in it, so it allows us to get a good hold on it. Unlike some of the other jacks, just have a round piece of plastic on there. We don't have to, again, don't have to worry about our hands slipping off. When they're wet, it gives us good grip because it makes it a little bit easier when cranking. Another nice feature is once we have our jack up in the stored position, or we have it down and we're not using it, we can take our handle off. It's magnetic. We can throw it in our glove box so it's ready to go for the next time. We don't have to worry about losing it. Also, when we have it in the stored position, a lot of the other handles that aren't removable, they just hang down and kind of flap around. We don't have to worry about it getting damaged while we're traveling. With our pin adjustment at the highest setting, from the ground to the center of our pivot point, we're looking at 32.5 inches. With our pin setting at the lowest position, our jack fully retracted from the ground to our center pivot point, we're looking at 14.5 inches. Which means we're going to have a total of 18 inches of adjustability. You're going to have a maximum moving height. You'll notice right here on this inside tube, it's going to say it right there. It might be kind of hard to see, but there's a line right here. So what we need to make sure is when we're moving the trailer, we need to make sure our jack is retracted to that line. Now our pin setting can be in any of the positions, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the lowest position and the highest position of our pin setting when it's at our moving mark. Now with our pin setting at the lowest position, center pivot point, our jack retracted to our moving mark from the ground to the center here is going to be 14 inches. If we were to move this up to our highest position from the ground, it's going to give us 16 inches. Why is that important? Well, if we have a trailer that may sit a little bit higher, a little bit lower, this allows us to adjust the tongue so our trailer is flat when we're moving it around. That way our tongue is not dipping down, which makes the front of the trailer heavy, and it's not raised up where it's making the back of the trailer heavy. It gives us plenty of adjustability to get our trailer flat to make it much easier to move. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's walk through how to get it installed. To start our installation, we need to determine where we're going to mount it on our frame rail. With this being a tri-tune and the tongue of it being pretty wide, I'm going to mount it on the center beam, and you'll notice that the center beam is a little bit wider. The bolts that come with this kit are designed for a 2-inch wide frame. This is actually 3 inches, so we're going to have to put longer bolts in it. And just keep that in mind depending on where you're going to mount it. All we're going to do is we're going to line it up, make sure your bolt holes are going up and down. This is going to work with 2-inch frame rails up to 6-inch frame rails. We'll take our bolt, slide it through. You're going to get 2 brackets that look like this. What we want is the holes to line up as close to the top and bottom of the frame rail as possible. So you might have to adjust to try to figure out where that's going to go. Once we get our hardware installed, we'll come back and we'll tighten it down. Once you have all your hardware tightened down, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at and installation on the Ark 500 series trailer jack.